I feel fine eating the slower amount. I am struggling with the higher protein,
Hmm.
but I was chatting with Brooke yesterday that the past Monday and Tuesday just kind of epic fell just with things going on and not prepping. Prepping is huge when you have to get that amount of protein in. And but today was a lot better. I was able to plan and I hit my targets today.
All right, all right. Um, so a good question is always, okay, whenever I'm off plan, what are the things that happened or didn't happen for me to be off plan? And what are the things that I can pull from on the days I am on plan to apply? Because we're looking at like a concept, right? There's a concept called raising the floor. Like the human side of us wants to raise the ceiling. We want the best days to be better, but we don't really want to think about the days that were off plan or the days that could have been better and weren't. We don't really want to put too much emphasis on those. But when we emphasize those and we start to raise the floor instead of raise the ceiling, then that margin for error gets really small. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So today you certainly raised the floor. What would you say were the big elements that helped you do that?
So last night, I went to the store and I bought I bought a rotisserie chicken, I bought salad, I bought, and I prepped it last night and I just stuck with it. It was stuff that I like to eat. Usually if it's something that I have to force myself to eat, then I really don't want to. But this is stuff that I can eat every day. And so even for dinner, I made um, spaghetti, but I don't use spaghetti sauce. I just use crushed diced peppers or tomatoes.
Mhm.
And I needed a little bit more protein. So then I was like, okay, well, how much would a rotisserie chicken leg be? And it was the perfect amount. So I just like ripped it off the chicken and ate it really fast while I was cooking. And I was like, okay, cool. But it's just having the accessible protein that I want nearby instead
Mhm.
of having to drink protein shakes all day.
Right.
So
And
it's the
you
prep.
don't want to like over supplement, right? There's going to be times
Yes.
where you're going to have to lean into supplementation, but your body definitely wants to be breaking down some whole foods for multiple reasons on that. Um, but yeah, I think, you know, how can you replicate today, tomorrow?
So I was actually thinking as long as I have those accessible, easy proteins, I was going to get like um, already cooked shrimp because I like that and just eating because that's high protein and it's a lot less calories. So if I get hungry, I'll just pop a couple in, log it. I know that I get the protein with the less calories. Um, I have been taking the protein chips with me if I'm at work and I get in a moment and I want something bad, then I'll eat the protein chips. It's not bad, and it has the protein in it. So and then I'll drink a Dr. Pepper Zero and I feel like I'm, quote unquote cheating, but I'm not. It's like all a mental thing. And then
Mhm.
it satisfies me. So I've been surrounding myself I personally have to remove all the bad stuff from my house.
Mhm.
So I take it to work. I work with a huge construction team and I literally just lay it out before they get in and it's gone within 5 minutes. So I take it all to work. I get out of my house. And so I can't surround myself with that. As long as I surround myself with good food, I'll be okay. The past couple of days, I haven't been prepping. I didn't prep. I didn't take lunch. And it was crazy at work and I wasn't feeling well. So I didn't hit my targets at all. I didn't even hit my steps. And I was like, I'm a failure. But I was like, no, I'm just going to get on it tomorrow and then I'm going to finish off the week strong. So that's how I'm going to do it.
Okay. I love that you're bringing up a couple of things that we're going to talk about later on too. One, environment, huge, like major factor in results, major factor in where your mindset is, and major factor in where you can focus, because that's one thing that we want to streamline, right? So if you know that, okay, I cannot have this, in the house, then and you just want to take it to work and essentially slop the hogs, then someone's going to eat whatever you don't want, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
definitely in the perfect position for that. Um, but another thing you brought up too was that, like, you feel like you're cheating because you're having
Mm-hmm.
a Coke and some protein chips.
Mm-hmm.
That might be, an old script to revisit and ask yourself, like, when did I decide that I could cheat on food?
Mm, that's
And
good.
then once you ask yourself that question, you're probably going to bring up a few more questions. But then you can go back to, okay, what that's an old program. That's something I don't want to run anymore. This is the new program. This is the new script, and this is what I'm going to install moving forward. This is how I'm going to. This is what's going to inform my not only behavior, but my mindset.
Okay. Yeah. I was telling my husband last week when you guys were talking about when you were discussing what do you reward yourself with, and he instantly is like, well, you reward yourself with food. He just knows it, it was just like automatic. And I go, yes. And I've never thought about rewarding myself with non-food items.
Hmm.
So, like you say, changing that script, I've been thinking about that a lot. So I'll do that with the whole cheating aspect as well.
Yeah, and I mean, you have all the power to be able to do that, because now you
Mm-hmm.
know how to do that,
Yeah.
why you're doing it, and then you can just run this new script. And if it's an outcome that you desire, keep it. If not, change it again.
Yeah.
Like, we're not
Okay.
powerless. We have a lot more power over, one, ourselves, uh, and two, the things around us as well. Um, so I'm gonna jump in here, just pop into good old fat loss, the reality of fat loss. And I'm calling this the reality of fat loss simply because everyone here knows, whenever you drop calories, or what you've done in the past, say if you've been on a low carb diet in the past, oh my God, I've dropped 3 to 5 pounds this week. This is amazing. Like, if this continues, I'm going to be at my targets in, I don't know, 6, 7 weeks. But then whatever happens is just the body doing its thing. Uh, and we're like, okay, what happened? Like, I was losing so much weight, but now it doesn't seem like anything's changing. So there's the perception of reality of, I did this thing and I started losing weight like crazy. Then the reality of the process is, you dropped a bunch of water, especially if you went into a low carb diet. Like, you dropped a bunch of water, and by dropping that water, you dropped weight on the scale, right? How many here has been on, like, a low carb diet before? I definitely have, straight up. Uh, it sucked every time. But if you get into, like, how the body actually releases fat and not water, it's like we're just creating a signal uh, to use stored energy, body fat, as energy via caloric deficit, what we would call cutting. So how we do this is, we take food away. When we take food away, we send that signal to the body that, okay, the body is going to require so much energy. And if it's not getting it from food, then it's going to require it from stored energy, body fat. And when it starts tapping into that, that's when we start to see body fat reduction. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to lose a ton of weight through this process as fast as we did on the front end, right? Everyone here that's been on a fat loss phase for a few weeks have noticed one thing: the body weight drops and it stays very consistent. Then it's going to drop, and let's be consistent. It might rise back up, and then it's going to drop again. What we're looking at more than the scale, definitely more than the scale, is your measurements and your pictures. Your pictures and your measurements are going to tell the tale. Obviously, we've all been through this process, so we know that we're maxing calories out, current body weight, we're creating a deficit from that point to send that signal. Um, and this is obviously why we preach and live CDE, food, steps, and training, because this is the one thing I want you guys to know. Whenever the body has a either a surplus of energy, food, or enough energy to maintain current body weight, we're going to feel like we have a lot more opportunity for activity. We're going to feel like we have a lot more energy. We're going to feel like we have a lot more, performance in the gym or whatever. And we start pulling that away, especially how we do in HPH, then our body is going to start to naturally pull back on our activity output. And this is why we reinforce CDE strong throughout the fat loss phase as well. I mean, all the time. You want the CDE to be consistent because we are leveraging nutrition. We're not leveraging, your food steps and training. We want that to be consistent no matter what. But to get the result that we want, we're leveraging nutrition. But the body is automatically going to want to pull back on energy expenditure through things what's called non-exercise activity thermogenesis, NEAT. And that's just like you're sitting there clicking your fingers or tapping your toes or whatever. That's something you'll notice will probably reduce a little bit as your body fat reduces and as the energy stays low. And that's also why we start to creep the calories up whenever we see the evidence required to do so. So it makes sense whenever the body is not getting fed as consistent or as much as it was the last, say, month, for the body to say, okay, what's going on here? We're going to pull this energy back because we're not sure what's happening. That doesn't mean we're going into starvation mode. That does not exist. That is something made up. It's been disproven so many times. I can send you all the literature. This is what is actually happening. So whenever we feel like we're eating less food and we start to pull back on activity, and then we're not seeing the scale move and we're not losing body fat, it's typically because you probably nailing calories, but some reason you've downregulated your energy output. So if anyone ever had questions about why we reinforce CDE so strongly, it's simply because that is consistent. Then we have a greater leverage of nutrition to get what we want as far as body shape and performance. Everybody tracking with me? And I think I already jumped into this earlier, but as you follow your targets, scale might stall or even creep up for a few days. This is the way your body works. And I'm going to utilize this as a training for future clients as well. I want you to internalize this. Like if your CD is on point, if your calories and protein is on point, and you're seeing the scale move in a way you don't really want it to go, one, it's short term. Two, it's going to change. And three, this is how your body works. It's just how it does, right? It's not a linear process. As much as I would love to say, like, fat loss is linear, and you just start here and straight down. It is. If that is happening, you are a unicorn. And I can tell you from training hundreds of women that you might have a week where you're like, oh my God, there's nothing working. Nothing's going to work for me. I am I am this anomaly that Joel doesn't believe in. And this is like, this is another thing that didn't work. Well, one, I would say this is obviously why we're using more than just a scale. Because if we're seeing measurements drop, I think we talked about this too last week, as we're seeing measurements drop, body weight is going to drop. It has no, I mean, there's no choice. There's no choice. But just internalize that. This is where your body works. This is why we can get you on the scale every single day, is because we want you to be inoculated by whatever that number is. Just let us know, and know that, you know, it's a slow process. Fat loss is, but you can be dropping a lot of fat and realize that the scale isn't moving as fast as you would like it, because fat takes up a lot of space per pound versus like a pound of muscle. So I wanted to get into that with you guys a bit. Is anyone seeing, like, getting some clarity here when it comes to fat loss, what's actually happening versus either what someone has told you, to what you've thought, or three, kind of what you've just accepted? Or did everybody already know all that?
Okay, I did not know all of that. And I always just thought I had a super slow metabolism because I'm like on point and usually frustrated because my scale just like goes like this every day. But yet I am dropping inches. So I'm kind of understanding all of that now.
Yeah, and if you zoom out, and specifically when fat loss meets body weight reduction, as long, like, you're going to see the peaks get lower and
Mm-hmm.
the low points get lower as well. So you're going to see that trending down, which is what we want. But that's going to be something where on the front end, those measurements are going to tell the tale, right? If you are measuring every 2 weeks and drop in like a half inch,
Yeah.
this is working 100%. I think you brought up metabolism just now. How many people have heard, "Oh, I've just got a fast metabolism. That's why I can eat so much food and just not gain weight." How
Not
many
me.
people have heard that, "Oh, you've got a slow metabolism, and that's the reason that you can only eat, you know, that you eat like a bird and you're still gaining weight." Like, we've all heard this, right? Is it true? Is it factual? Is this documented, or has it been disproven time and time and time again? Um, I can tell you from the latest studies that we've seen, from the latest meta-analysis, that your metabolism comes up and kind of sticks where it's going to be from about the age of 20 to 60, and then it starts falling off naturally as your body doesn't require as much energy. Um, but yeah, there's unless you're like a unique outlier, or you have obviously a thyroid condition, um, that's just not the case, right? So the people are like, I just eat whatever I want to, and, you know, I just don't gain weight. Well, okay, sure, they're going out for a splurge night on a Saturday night or a Friday night or something, but they're just not eating that much food through the week. Or the people that think, I mean, we are notoriously underreporting. It's hard to get a study unless you've got people there that are monitoring. It's hard to get a study that's accurate simply because we notoriously underreport. You guys don't, because, you know, we have God mode and you guys know exactly what you're doing. But for the majority of people, they're like, "Oh, I eat like a bird and I'm just still gaining weight." No, you're eating um, a little bit more food than your body requires to maintain the current body weight. And that kind of takes this weird stigma out of this, and this even like mysticism. because like if there's ever a time that I can speak truth, like if I get a time to speak truth and life into my clients, people around me, that's what I want to do. Because you're in here because you want to know how things actually work, and not because I've got some kind of magical solution that's going to solve all your problems with body fat, fitness, and all that kind of stuff, right? So I definitely want to, anytime that I hear something where this could be an old script that you could possibly still be running, I definitely want to speak to that because I've heard that so many times. Metabolism, my metabolism is just, it's trash. It's dropped. That's rampant, but it's wrong. So if you believe that, just know that I'm not calling you wrong, but I have the data, the literature to be able to support my position. But ultimately, I want you to be free from that by the knowledge and understanding of how things actually work. Are we good? Did Karen leave us? No, she's there. Okay. I get you guys on a sidebar here. Brooke, do you want to add anything? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
As far as what? The fat loss?
Yeah. I think you're a good person to talk about fat loss. I mean, you've only lost like what, 35 pounds in last year.
I actually find the fat loss phase easier. I don't know, like I'm more focused when I'm on the fat loss phase. I don't know why that's easier for me, but it just is. I don't know. So you had asked before, like, is that like a better or worse experience? I feel like it's a better experience when you're on the fat loss phase.
She's not lying. She pushes back against eating more food, but she does it. She does it.
Well,
She
no,
gets
the
it
thing
done.
is, I like to eat a lot. Like, I don't understand the women that comment to me, like, I can't hit my target. Like, I had an extra couple hundred calories. What? No, I never have extra calories. Like, I eat like I like to fill them, but I'm just saying, I feel like when there's not a lot of choice, you know what I mean? I feel like when you're in a fat loss phase, you're more focused because you don't have maybe as much choice as to how to fill that space.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's something you definitely have to focus on. If you're just going to the grocery store and you've got, $57, like, that, okay, everything's going to add up to this, before I get there, versus, whatever, just go get what you need and we'll pay for it, whatever. So, I mean, when you get to that place where your calories are very high, it's easier to get lax, or the opposite of, oh my God, like I finished today and I freaking got 600 more calories. There's no way I'm going to be eat this, so it's a little bit more difficult, but when you base those things on how you feel, man, that's when everything gets all screwed up. Like that's why we're all about like data, numbers, accuracy, output, and then adjusting from there, right? So that's where we're having a consistent audit of all those things. Then we can say, okay, this needs to change. It's time for this to change. So, and another thing I wanted to just show everybody, besides Brooke, we'll share her like before and afters, or then and now pictures too. But every single woman that you see here, same exact process that you've gone through.